Hi friends, it's Cheryl from the Lifestyle Digs, and today I am here to talk about telephone banking hell. We've all been there. You dial into your bank to do a little bit of telephone banking, or you just want to talk to a real person, and you're stuck in an automated system that tells you to press 1 for this and 3 for that, and to type in your debit card or credit card number or your bank account number, and then your password and all this verification. And maybe half an hour later, you'll get a real person to talk to. So I am talking about Coast Capital Savings. This is a credit union that operates, the head office is in Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. And they are a credit union. They started off life as Surrey Credit Union. So I have been a member since I was a baby. Then their name changed and it became Surrey Metro Savings. And their current name is Coast Capital, which is the best name of the three. But unfortunately, the leadership sucks. Going back as far as Lloyd Craig. And they've got some dipshit right in there right now. His name is Calvin or Kevin, I think it's Calvin. Again, same personality as Lloyd Craig, and he doesn't really give a shit about anybody. But anyway, I talked about Coast Capital not too long ago on a video post. I was trying to get my bank card, my debit card, onto my iPhone's wallet. And this is like a half-day event if you have to do it. I had to phone into the telephone banking system, and the problem I had was, you're still in the automated hell here. It tells you to type in the last 8 numbers of the debit card, which I did, and then my password, which I did, and then the system says, gee, that's too bad that you don't know the last 8 numbers of your debit card, even though I'm staring it right in the face. So I eventually got a live person. She said, is your phone on speaker? And I said, yes. She said, take it off speaker, try again, which I did. So speaker on, speaker off, it makes no difference. Coast Capital just says, gee, it's too bad that you don't know the last 8 numbers of your debit card. So I had a situation yesterday. I was at the Diwali Festival in Toronto. I'm visiting Ontario for the rest of the year. Currently in Toronto, so Diwali Fest, I go down. I decided to buy lunch from a vendor that's there. Now I used my wallet, used my Coast Capital debit card, and I have used it successfully a couple of times since I went through all the rigmarole just to get it added. But I used it to buy my meal, and it went through just fine on the wallet, but the fellow who's holding his little point of sale machine, he says it didn't go through. And I'm like, what the hell? It shows right here in the wallet, the $9. Yes, it was a pretty cheap meal, $9. It went through. So he says, well, try again. I said, well, I don't want to try again. I've already paid once for it. I don't want to pay a second time. And he says, no, it didn't go through, so it'll just drop off your wallet. So I tried again. Same results. And I'm like, well, what the hell? So one of the things there on the wallet, it says call Coast Capital. So I did. And you guessed it. Once again, I am in telephone banking hell. And I have the same problem when it asked me to type in the last 8 numbers of my bank card. It says, gee, that's too bad you don't know the last 8 numbers of your bank card. I eventually get a real person. And I'm not really getting too far with her here. She, because it's not working, even though she tried on the phone with me and I had to do it again, it still didn't work. And she says, well, I'm going to email you a password, a security code. And I said, well, that's no good. My laptop is half an hour walk away from where I am currently. So I have to walk all the way back there just to get my email to tell me what the security code is. Why can't we just do this on the phone? Why can't you try another security measure? And she's like, I'm so sorry, but this is our policy. And I said, well, the policy is stupid. I've gone through this before. Your system does not work. It does not recognize your bank card when I type it in onto the phone. And I'm getting nowhere with her. And before anybody says, well, you can't walk half an hour back to your house. Well, a year ago, I walked the Camino de Santiago. That's in the north of Spain. That's an 800-kilometer walk, or 500 miles. So walking half an hour back to my place is not a big deal. I can walk. The big deal is it now puts me 2 kilometers away from the vendor who I'm doing business with. So I can't resolve this on the spot. So all I want to find out from a credit union is if those 2 transactions went through or not. And I get nowhere. I ask to speak to a supervisor. She refuses. I hang up on her. I walk home. Probably covered those 2 kilometers in less than half an hour because I was so pissed off with Coast Capital. So I get back. I log on to my online banking and I can see the 2 transactions went through, and I also see that they canceled out. So I had 2 negative transactions as well. So no harm, no foul. I'm back to where I started from, except I still have no lunch. Have to make my lunch here. But when it calmed down a bit, I phoned back to Coast Capital and I asked to speak with a supervisor. And so the woman puts me on hold. Now, this is the head office. So this is no complaints against supervisors, managers that are in the actual branches of Coast Capital. This is the administrative office. I used to work for the administrative office of one of their competitors 20 years ago. And these tend to be the most unhelpful people that I've ever worked with in my life. I have never seen more finger pointing in any other company I've ever worked for. There you go, one of the top credit unions in the province. So no big surprise, she comes back and says, nope, she doesn't want to talk to you, because she knows I want to complain about the online banking system and try to find another way that we can get around it, where I don't have to go home and check my email to finish doing a security check. This, if it affects me, it probably affects other customers. You're at a vendor, you may be buying something a lot more than a $9 lunch, and you can't get through. It's not working. I don't know whether the problem was with the Coast Capital's wallet or with the vendor's point of sale machine. I'm sure they will both point fingers at each other, but I really don't know which one is to blame. Just because I don't like Coast Capital, I will blame Coast Capital, but I really don't know. It could have been the vendor's point of sale machine. Whatever reason, they weren't talking to each other. And I don't blame them. I don't want to talk to Coast Capital either. So anyway, the lady comes back on the phone after she says, the supervisor will only talk to you if you sign a letter of consent. So I will email you a letter of consent, blah, 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 blah. You can sign it. And I'm like, what the hell? This is not the leader of a company. Of a big country. I'm not trying to talk to the Prime Minister of Canada or the President of the United States or the King of England. I just want to talk to some administrative person who can help me out at the head office. And in this case, the telephone call center, deposits from the credit union, that type of thing, it is probably a mid-level manager who's responsible for that department. And at best, if she's not there or he's not there, there's probably a second in command that can also help with these things. But knowing what I know from my previous employment with another administrative office, they just don't care less about customers. Yeah, if they didn't have customers, they wouldn't have a job. But anyway, she won't talk to me unless I sign a letter of consent, so I just hang up. And here I am making this video. A letter of consent? I mean, it would be probably easier to try to talk to the King of England than to try to talk to a manager or supervisor at the administrative office of Coast Capital. And I tell you, if I didn't travel so much, I would probably get nominated to be on the chairman of the board of Coast Capital. And the first thing I would do is fire that clown at the top, Calvin, because he has made some very bad decisions. This online banking system, which is not the same as how it used to be. And Calibria MasterCard, what a disaster. WorldSource Financial, these are all just jokes, and they are reasons to dislike Coast Capital. But anyway, I'm just having such a tough time with this online banking hell. I get on Twitter and talk about it. Somebody responds and says, give me your phone number. I'll have a supervisor call you. But No supervisor called me. They're too scared, I guess. I mean, I'm not going to curse them out. I would curse out old that sack of shit Calvin at the top. Yeah, him I'd curse out. But, he won't talk to some lowlife like me because, he's too hoity-toity for the little guy customers. So anyway, here is my rant for the day. It is about Coast Capital getting stuck in their telephone banking system, which is a total nightmare, and it doesn't work. And no customer should have to be waiting, be forced to return home and move away from where they're trying to make a sale just to get onto their email and get a security code. This is just ridiculous. And why am I still a customer at Coast Capital? Well, I've been a customer since I was a baby, back in the Surrey Credit Union days. And when I was a teenager, I wanted to cancel my account and get out of there. And my father says to me, no, leave your account alone. One day they'll be able to help you. So 50 years later, I'm still waiting for them to help me. It never changes. So this is Cheryl from Lifestyle Digs. Thanks for watching, and don't get caught in Coast Capital online banking hell, telephone banking hell. Bye for now.